Welcome to These Are the Blades of Our Lives, the figure skating show where I talk to you about figure skating like it is drama for our mama. This week we had figure skating, and more figure skating. Yes, we had ourselves Cup of China. And there was some really unexpected moments, some really absurd moments, some really got me pissed off moments, but we are going to discuss it all. As always, this will be a two-part videos, pairs and men in one, then dance and women in another. So pairs here went fairly fair. I would say that the judging at the pairs event here made a lot of sense to me. So, of course, the winners here were Anastasia Meltonkina and Luka Barilova. In second place was Sarah Conti and Nicolo Marcy. And third place was Wing Jung Sui and Kong Hong. Then in fourth place was Jia Shuang Zhang and Yi Hong Huang. And fifth place was Rebecca Gilardi and Filippo Ambrosini. In sixth place was Annika Hockey and Robert Kunkel. And seventh place was Katie Macbeth and Daniel Parkman. And unfortunately, after the short program, Lucretia Bacardi and Matteo Gorizzi had to withdraw. So starting with Lucretia and Matteo, they went back to their old short program, from which I am very grateful because you guys know how much I disliked their short program, from the all green packaging to the music. I disliked it all. So I'm very glad to see that they had gone back to their old short program. I am curious to find out why they were true. I'm hoping that everything is okay, but this season has started off so all over the place that I'm just not sure what's going on. Then Katie and Daniel had such a fabulous short program, just a wonderful short program. Every element was sharp. Their twist looks better than it ever had. The side by side was solid. The lifts are looking really good. They were connecting with each other more and more. I was seriously thinking that they may be a threat for the podium. And then the long program came and everything just sort of like unraveled, is what it seems like. Again, I don't know what happened, but it just, every element was a struggle. They just didn't seem confident. Was it an injury? I don't know. I hope it's not an injury, but this was definitely not the outing they wanted. I think they were fourth at the last event they were at. A fourth here would have definitely firmly put them in the conversation for that second pair spot, but ooh, now I feel like they've dug themselves into a hole and they're going to have to come back fighting. And then Annika and Robert, I think they look fabulous. I mean, yes, the side by side jumps is and will always be an issue for them, but I think everything else, they're making improvement, and I don't understand why the judges will not go with them. I always find their PCS scores to be just cheated, to be quite frankly. It's just cheated. So I honestly don't understand, and I really, really hope we can see some improvement there. Rebecca and Filippo still have that short program that I don't like, that I'm not crazy about, but it's balanced with that long program that I absolutely love. There's so much fight, so much passion in that long program that I wish they would just trickle a little bit of that into that blend short program. Again, this is a pair that does in between skating so beautiful. The transitioning moves from one element to the other, their lifts. She has wonderful position in the air. Throws in the side by side remains their weakness, and it's interesting because normally in pairs it's the women that struggles with the jump, But in this instant, they both struggle with the jumps evenly, which I find to be very interesting. The young Chinese pair of Jia Shuang and Yi Hong, again, some really, really nice elements. Their twist is absolutely huge. Their throws absolutely huge. My only thing is they don't have any connection to each other. There's no joy they seem to share with each other or have with each other. They're very much a business oriented pair. And that is very unfortunate because, oh boy, are they talented. Again, the side by side jumps is a struggle for everyone, so I'm not holding anyone accountable for that. But just in terms of the lifts, because of the height difference between them, when he lifts her up, she really gets elevated. There's a lot going on here. I just wish they looked like they enjoyed each other more and that they enjoyed the skating more. But then again, they're a fairly young pair. They're just coming out of junior. So hopefully that's something they can grow into because they definitely have endless potentials. And then, of course, it was the return of the one and only Wing Jing Sui and Kang Hong. I agree with skating Twitter. Han looked like he does not want to be there. And then they have his start position where he's lying on that cold ice, which I know Han is like, I'm already in pain. Why the hell you guys got me lying on this cold ice? He does not look like he wants to be competing. He looks like he wants to be anywhere but on the ice, but in that kiss and cry. But I'm hoping that change. They did say in interviews that they've only ran through this program 4 times or thereabout. So I feel like this is so early and tentative for them. I love the short program. I definitely feel like that short program has Olympic potential, even with the fall, even with Wang Zheng going down in the side by side jumps. I still feel like they have a lot of potential. They do look a lot slower than they did, when they competed 4 years ago, which makes a lot of sense. They don't seem like they're competition ready. They're not in the same shape they were 4 years ago. Again, that makes a lot of sense. Even the lifts, which used to be so easy for them, was obviously a struggle at this competition. But they've only done these programs 4 times. So I would say right now they're about like 58% of their former self, but this was their first competition. I don't love the long program. I feel like they've had other programs that were way better than this long program. Again, it is early in the season, so there is definitely room for them to grow and improve this long program. But the short program for me is the program. It's fabulous. I will admit though, I'm not crazy about their packaging in either program. I just felt like this was a pair that was always packaged to the T, and I don't feel like they're packaged to the T. And I really, really miss the short hair from Wang Jing. I used to love her short hair. It was fabulous. So I really do miss the short hair. I'm saying let's wait and see what happened. Sarah and Nicolo looked really good in the short program. The long program was more of a struggle. She put her hand down in both of those throws. I'm okay with their progress. And I think I say this every video with certain skaters. I do not need Sarah and Nicolo to pop off right now so early in the beginning of the season. I need them to take their time to slowly build. And I feel like that is exactly what they're also thinking and what their team is also planning is a slow build, to the Olympic, and I'm okay with that. Again, I like both of their program. I do think both program have rooms to grow. I like where they're progressing. Their twist looks so much better. In every competition, the twist looks a little better. They're usually pretty solid on their side by side. The throws is really the element that they need to work on, as well as their lifts. They do need to work on their lifts. But again, it's the start of the season and the potential is there. So the winners here, Anastasia and Luca, I completely agree with them winning. They looked really good in the short program. There were some slight errors in the long program, but overall they have a great twist. They have good throws. They have good side by side. I think they're another team that's mostly business. They don't have much musicality. They don't have much connection with each other, which always has me side-eyeing their PCS scores. And then Anastasia there was pictures of her on Twitter showing us her arms from that short program where they start that bolero with her on her head and her arms on the ice. And I'm like, why don't you not start in that stupid position that scratch up your arm? Like, instead of showing us your arm, why don't you just tell your coaches, your partner, and your choreographer, this is stupid and it's injuring me and I don't want to do it. What does you being on your head scraping your arm have to do with bolero? Nothing. I really hate when choreographers make these artistic, I'm doing the bunny fingers, you guys can't see, these artistic decisions that are harmful to the skaters. Like, what the hell artisticism is this? Get that child off of her head. I'm gonna be harping on this entire season. Every time I see this poor girl on her head, I'm gonna be upset, especially now that we know that doing the little turning her on her head scrapes her arm is gonna make me even more upset every time I see it. But all in all, I do feel like the podium was correct. I do feel like the scores made sense. And everyone was in a position where I could be like, I could see where where the judges came to that conclusion. So I was very okay with the pairs decision. The men decision, hell no. Hell to the no, no, no. What the hell were we doing? Oh my goodness. So in first place was Shun Sato. In second place was Daniel Grasso. In third place was Mikhail Shadorov. In fourth place was Tomoki Hiwatashi. In fifth place was Boyang Jen. In sixth place was Vladimir Letvintsev. In seventh place was Jacob Sanchez. In eighth place was Junhwa Cha. In ninth place was Sota Yamamoto. In 10th place was Denis Vasiliev. In 11th place was Dewei Day. And then in 12th place was Zimeng Peng. I was just now being introduced to Ziming Peng, and I think he's definitely one of those jumper skater. He's sort of like a Boyang Zheng when he first started skating. The spins are not there, the steps are not there, the skating skill is not there, the in-between skating is not there, but he's a sound jumper. He does just enough jumping for him to be in the conversation at a Chinese national, is the way I'm looking at it. Daewei Day, this is a skater that I do like. There is something very musical about his skating, very soft about his skating, but his jumps are all over the place and his jumps are very, very inconsistent. Just very, very inconsistent. So that is also very devastating to me because he is a skater that I feel like when Boyang does retire, he should be the front runner for the Chinese men. But because of the inconsistency of his jumps, I'm just not sure. And then Denis Vasiliev, oh my God. Oh, this was not the outing that he wanted. This is his first outing without his longtime coach. Stefan Lambiel being by his side, and I was just like, what is going on? It's like his mind wasn't completely in it, which is understandable because he's had such a horrible start to his season with the problems with his federation, finances. There's just so much going on on his shoulder, so I'm sure that's sinking into his skating. But the jumps here were just not there. This new short program is quite lovely, but it's a short program that he's gonna have to skate clean because technically he's already not at the level of some of his other competitors. So what he needs is cleanliness, and obviously he didn't have that here. He's keeping his long program from last season, which I'm perfectly okay with because I really do like that long program. But again, it's the kind of long program that really hits when he is clean. And then poor Sota Yamamoto. In that short program, I could not understand how Sota was behind Daniel. Okay, I'll get to Daniel Grasso. Let me focus on Sota. That was the best short program that I have seen from Sota in such a long time. He looked that triple axe so dead in the eye, and he overcame that triple axel. And we know that triple axel in the short program is his nemesis. We know he's coming back from so many injuries. And after the short program and he was in fourth place, I was like, come on, Sota, come on, hold on. But then that long program was just painful on him and painful for us. Just some of the falls he took, I was like, oof, I feel that in my bone. But even more than the devastation was Sota, was the devastation with Junhwa Cha. The quad, the quad Sao just doesn't seem to want to quad Osao. And then the quad toe was just like, we're not quad towing at all. The quad toe was like, nope, nope, we're not happening today. The only clean jump was the triple axel. And then I really love his short program. I really would like to see it skated cleanly this season. And if I have to wait for the Olympic for that to happen, I'm okay with that. I will take that journey with Junhwa to get to the Olympic to get that short program cleanly. Again, that Moulin Rouge long program, yeah, there may be a potential there for it to be something absolutely fabulous. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I'm still waiting. It might be because we haven't seen him skated cleanly because he's struggling with the jumps. He can't really put all of his Junhwa Cha emotions into it. I want to believe, guys. I want to get on the believing boat. But I almost kind of feel like, can we bring back the Romeo and Juliet program? Everybody's bringing back program. Why can't we? Like, why? Why can't my cha-cha-cha baby bring back a program? Then in seventh place was Jacob Sanchez. I am very impressed by this young skater. And the reason why I'm impressed by him is because it seems like his team are trying to work on making him a complete skater. You definitely see that he is very musical. He's listening to the music, he's emoting, he's giving you facial impression. The spins still need work, but you could see the effort is there, the step work. He looks like the kind of skater that he and his team are literally working on every element as opposed to a skater that only works on one element. And again, he's just coming out of junior. He doesn't have all the quads. He mostly has triples, but he has a solid jumping foundation that he could over time, taking his time, build up to the quad. And by the time he builds up to the quad, he would have had such a solid skating foundation. So he's one of those skaters that I'm really looking forward to. Vladimir, I'm still waiting for someone to explain this long program in the comment for me. Did he butcher a wedding procession? Is like, why is he covered in blood? Is this like a Godfather moment where this is the wedding of my daughter and you came in and you murdered everyone? I just don't know what the theme of the program is, and I need someone to explain it to me. What the theme of this long program is. Boying, oh my God, boying is the perfect example of why I am constantly harping to you guys about longevity in skating. I desperately need for there to be longevity in skating so that we can get more Boying Jing like skaters. The only way a skater can go from the Boyang Jing level where all they were doing was jumps to a level where they're now a complete skater is longevity. The longevity of his career has allowed us to see a softer, a gentler, a more well-rounded Boyang Jing, who's feeling the music, who's holding positions, who is having genuine moments. Yes, I understand that the jumps are a struggle, but he's had so many injuries over the years because he was mostly a jump-oriented skater. So now that he doesn't have the jumps, it's nice that he went to join a team that is helping him work on everything else, on all the other aspects. And I'm so incredibly happy for him. And it was wonderful to see the reign of stuffed animals for him, that he gets so much appreciation at home. And a fifth place finish here is definitely not bad. Tomoki! Let me find out Tomoki is becoming one of the most consistent of that second tier of American men. We know for like the past 5 or so years, there's been these 5 or 6 American men. We're talking about like Jimmy Ma. We're talking about Andrew Togashev. We're talking about 4 or 5 of them. And Tomoki Hiwatashi is one of those men that have been fighting to break through to that top layer of American men. And finally, as the Olympic season is at hand, I feel like Tomoki is finally like, yes, let me show you what I can do. Let me show you I could be consistent. Let me put myself in that Olympic conversation. And I really love this for him because I have watched him struggle for 4 consecutive years. Although he always does come correct at national, and you always going to get a good performance at him at 4 continent if he goes there. But the rest of it has been a hot mess of a struggle. And finally, we're finally getting a more consistent Tomoki. And mind you, I've always found Tomoki to be a very musical, very entertaining skater. So it was wonderful to see him here delivering and having another clean, consistent outing. If he could keep this up, he's really putting himself in that conversation for the American men, and I would love that for him. In third place here, and I don't agree. I don't agree. You cannot tell me nothing I don't agree, was Mikhail Shidorov. First of all, Mikhail had a clean short program. And they dinged him on everything. They dinged him on the spins. They dinged him on the jumps. They called jumps that were perfectly clean to the naked eye and were even cleaner under the replay. And the judges were like, no, we're calling you for everything. Now I get it. I get it. I'm always saying that we need skaters to be well-rounded skaters. Does Mikhail need to work on his spins, on his footwork, on his musicality? Does he need to take the program more seriously? 100% I agree. And I also don't understand why he changed the outfit. His other outfit was more laid back. It was more cool. It made more sense with the music. I don't really get this sack look that he's going for. It doesn't really go with the music. But given all of that, he should have been second after the short program. I do not understand how he ended up third in the short program, and then they dinged him again in the long program, and he ended up third overall. We need justice for Mikhail Shidorov. Justice. And in second place, I don't know how, why, where, who, what. In second place was Daniel Grasso. I'm going to say this, and you guys can call me a conspiracy theorist, but I'm going to keep saying this. The Italian Federation took a deal. The Italian Federation literally watched Marco and Charlene bury themselves for 2 years. And the Italian Federation was like, this is what they're giving us this season. Their chances of a gold medal, their chances of a silver medal, their chances of a bronze medal is next to non-existing. We will forget all about a medal for ice dance altogether, but we will put all of our power behind the men and to a lesser extent pairs. We will give up any contention for a medal in ice dance, but we want a medal in pairs in men. That is the only justification that I can come up with for Daniel Grasso being placed in front of a clean short program, Mikhail Shidorov, in a clean short program, Sota Yamamoto. That is the only justification that I have, because it seems like the judges refuse to see any of his edge calls, any of his under rotation, any of his pre-rotation. It is like the tech callers are permanently blind to all of it. I feel like his jump and Isabeau's jump have some kind of magic quality that makes the technical callers blind. And the only way I can explain Daniel Grasso is if the Italian Figure Skating Federation took a deal. That's the only way I could think of it. Now, in terms of the programs, I do think these programs suit him better. I do think like the more awkward, angular programs are better suited for him than a more balletic musical program. He has very awkward postures, and I don't feel like balletic program or, musical program, lyrical programs are programs that he should really be doing. But I do think these angular, awkward kind of programs suit him better. Now, I agree with skating Twitter. Like, why are we killing the Pope at an Olympic that's going to take place in Milan? Like, why? Why we got to be killing off the Pope? That's such bad omen. Let the Pope live, for Jesus' sake. Let the Pope live, Daniel. And then the opening of the shirt, like, oh my God, the packaging for this Olympic season is so bad. It is so depressingly bad. God, goodness gracious. It's an Olympic season. Can we have some taste? Can we have some costumes that are worth it? Can we spend that budget? Like, what is this little gold thingy hanging on his shirt? Like, Daniel, keep the shirt closed. Oh, Lord, have mercy. And then the winner here, and rightfully so, was Shun Soto. Didn't break 100, but we are at 94. We are getting closer and closer to that 100. We can do it, Shun Soto. We can break 100 in the short program. I believe it. I like both of his programs for him. I do think he does need to work on his extension. He needs to work on holding position a little more. He needs to be more facially aware when he skates. But in terms of his hand movement, he has some lovely hand movement. He has nice soft knees that sort of like sink into the ice. He has wonderful jump technique. His jumps, whenever they're clean and they're on, they're nice, they're pretty, they're pristine. Both of his program work really well for him, for his physique, and for his skating style. So both in the short and the long program, having him go so consistent, do probably what he's been hoping to do the entire season so far. I do agree with him winning here without a doubt. I don't agree with Daniel jumps not being called even slightly in the short program, and then him getting so many buys in the long program. There's no way I would have put him ahead of Mikhail, even if Mikhail wasn't perfectly clean here. The level of their jumps is so huge that I don't understand it. And this is the other thing that kind of pissed me off is with most skaters, when they're so technically proficient, the judges are willing to boost their PCS scores. So why are we having a different standard for Mikhail? For everyone that's just a jump skater, you'll boost up their PCS scores. But because Mikhail is mostly a jump skater, why isn't he getting that same benefit? Anyhow, the men, I was very upset. I was upset by my poor baby Junhwa Cha. I was upset for post Sota Yamamoto, who couldn't hold it together in the long. I was devastated for Denis Vasiliev. I wanted some justice for Mikhail Shidorov. Yeah, this man, other than Shun Soto winning with two clean program and rightfully winning, a lot about this men event had me very upset. But that's my take, that's my feeling on it. But you guys let me know in the comments what was your take on the pairs and the men at Cup of China.